Well, this is a story all about how Riley J. Dennis is a transgender moron. So I'd like to take a few minutes just sitting out here and show you how she goes around spreading brain cancer everywhere. That was gay. Most of y'all are familiar with who I'm gonna be talking about. Riley J. Dennis, previously known as Justin Dennis, is the internet's favorite punching bag for creating incredibly delusional videos ranging from promoting a message that sexism against men does not exist, to bending biology to feel oppressed, to promoting children to be transgenders, a vlogger, a feminist, a delusional dipshit, and also...
And now we've made it to the fun part, because I'm also trans. I identify as gender non-binary and as a trans woman because my gender is fluid and I prefer she/her pronouns. Because of my gender identity and the fact that I'm almost exclusively attracted to women, I identify as a lesbian.
But I want her to be known as the contradictory queer of YouTube.
Look, feminism isn't about hating men. It simply isn't. Feminism as a whole doesn't hate men. By its very definition, seeking equality and justice on the basis of gender, sexuality, and race, feminism isn't about hating men.
Hey, look who's talking, Riley J. Dennis, the person who hated being a man so much that they ended up calling themselves a non-binary trans woman gender fluid lesbian. Shut the fuck up, Riley. But she is technically right though, because that's what the definition of feminism states, equality to all genders. But I want you guys to remember how much Riley J. Dennis sticks to the dictionary definitions. It's all about the dictionary definitions.
Sexism is the institutionalized discrimination against a gender or genders.
Yay, go Riley! Sexism is the discrimination against genders, which means that both men and women can be discriminated against. Finally, a social justice warrior who just sticks to the definition.
Because it has to be institutionalized, that is, built into our societal systems, you can only be sexist against women or other gender minorities.
God damn it, Ryan! Saying that you can't be sexist towards men is being sexist towards men.
Yeah, there are people who will argue that you can be sexist against men, but that's an unnecessarily defensive argument over semantics.
And the reasons for her being the contradictory queer of YouTube begins, cause damn that must be comfortable, isn't it? The dictionary definition of feminism, which says seeking equality to both men and women, is semantically correct in every sense. But when it comes to the dictionary definition of sexism, which says that discrimination happens to both men and women, that is an unnecessary argument over semantics. Are you fucking kidding me, Riley? Sexism against men is an ongoing issue which will never be resolved as long as brainless morons like you go around blabbering lunatic bullshit like sexism is not applicable to men. But then again, that's your brain high on feminism speaking. This video about to witness is not only worth 1,000,000 words, but it also completely destroys a statement on men don't face sexism.
According to the Orange County DA's office, Catherine Q. Becker is accused of cutting off her husband's penis with a knife, taking his penis and throwing it into the garbage disposal. She's been charged with felony torture and aggravated mayhem. Police say Becker attacked him because he filed for divorce.
I mean, I don't know the circumstances. I don't know why he filed for divorce. I don't know what was going on between them. However, I do think it's quite fabulous. I mean, can you just imagine that thing whizzing around the disposal? It's like hysterical.
But there's something I want to point out, though, not to be like a total buzzkill, but it is a little bit like sexist. Like if somebody cut a woman's breast off, no one would be sitting laughing. Like it's not that right to sit around laughing about it if we think about it.
It's different, though.
It is different.
One's floppy and one just sticks up like that. It's easy to do that.
Some are floppy. Both.
A bunch of cunts cackling about a man's worst nightmare. Absolute fucking madness. Also, it's okay to chop a penis because it's floppy, is it? Says the woman with a drooping pair of...
Let's start with trans people. Would you date a trans person? Honestly? Think about it for a second.
As long as they look as feminine as possible, then maybe a yes. But mostly no.
Okay, got your answer? Well, if you said no, I'm sorry, but that's pretty discriminatory.
Maybe it is discriminatory, but it doesn't really matter because your dating preferences are something which is personal to you. You just can't force people to date someone just because you want them to be attracted to that someone.
I think the main concern that people have in regards to dating a trans person is that they won't have the genitals that they expect. It really feels like you're reducing people just to their genitals. You're kind of objectifying them, but you're thinking of them more as genitals than objects, so I guess you're kind of genitalifying them?
Stop making shit up, Riley. The answer is pretty plain and simple. Dating leads to relationships. Relationships leads to sex. Sex is determined by your genitals, so it is necessary to genitalify them. And come on, everybody knows this. It's pretty common knowledge. Most dicks are attracted to vaginas. Most vaginas are attracted to Abster because he's a dick.
Gay men often pride themselves on being disgusted by vaginas, and the same goes for lesbian women with penises. The more you work at unlearning your own prejudices, the more you'll be able to see people from these groups as people rather than tired stereotypes. Unlearning our own biases doesn't happen overnight, and I don't have a step-by-step instruction guide for you. So by working on ourselves to dispel that idea, we can make the world a more welcoming and loving place for everybody.
Here's the thing which I'm quite confused about Riley. She's not an evil person by any means. She seems to be doing whatever she does with a good intention. According to me at least. But the thing is her stupidity. Oh my god, her stupidity. It's beyond dangerous. By saying that it's possible for gay men to unlearn their sexual preferences, you're basically invalidating the gay rights activism by promoting a message that being gay is just a choice. And not just a choice, it's a discriminatory one, by the way. We are pretty much going from a time where people condemned homosexuality to being a mental disorder to a time where people call out homosexuality to being discriminatory. And next they'll call out straight people as being homophobic. But that's not even the extent of her stupidity. Riley, you made a video basically saying that if a gay man doesn't find a vagina attractive, or if a lesbian doesn't find a dick attractive, or if anybody doesn't find a transgender attractive, they are being discriminatory. Well, that's your opinion, and as some people would say, not all opinions are valid. But then you go around making a response to your video saying that you don't like men in any romantic or sexual way, you don't find men attractive, and you don't want men to be attracted to you. You do realize how hypocritical you just made yourself look, right? I mean, you pretty much contradicted everything which you preached in your video. You're not open to dating men, but you want others to be open to dating transgenders because Riley dumbass Dennis, the social justice hypocrite, said so.
Sex is not a biological fact because it is determined by things that are largely changeable, and the only part of it that is unchangeable doesn't have any real-world effect. So it is just as much a social construct as gender is.
Is this a lie? Is this a fantasy? I want to die. Teach these morons biology.
I'm not saying that for a trans person to be trans, they have to have all the surgeries and take all the hormones. A trans person is trans if they claim that identity.
First of all, tell me why the fuck is gender reassignment surgery even a thing if your biological sex is just a social construct and you can just claim an identity? Just watching your foreskin getting peeled off and your balls getting surgically removed made me cringe so hard, but screw all that because your sex organs don't matter because your biological sex is just a social construct. Stop making a mockery out of all the transgenders who go through transitioning to counter their gender dysphoria instead of playing dress up to look like a transvestite Wonder Woman.
Talking about transgender issues among adults is one thing, but what happens when a child is trans? There have been plenty of stories in the media about children as young as 3 years old coming out as transgender.
Whoa, hold on there, Riley. Didn't you just say that biological sex is just a social construct, which means through sociological factors and interactions and with the particular passage of time, it's possible for you to identify as a different sex than what you were born with? First of all, if you go along with that logic, then pretty much anyone can say that they are a transgender if they want to. But my question is, how on earth is it possible for a 3-year-old to be a transgender when they've neither spent enough time in this world to understand it, nor have they had any sort of influential social interaction? I'm pretty sure that the only interactions 3-year-olds have are with their G.I. Joe toys and Barbie dolls. So what next? G.I. Joe sexual? Barbie doll sexual? Bottom line, if you believe that your biological sex is just a social construct, then it's impossible for a 3-year-old to be a transgender.
I think a lot of people have some deeply ingrained misconceptions about what it means for kids to come out as trans. Myth number 1, transgender children immediately start taking hormones that cause irreversible changes. No, in fact, depending on how young they are when they come out, some trans kids might go years without any kind of medical intervention. The current process recommended by the Endocrine Society is that a child doesn't receive any kind of treatment until the Tanner 2 stage of puberty, which can happen happen anytime between 8 and 15 years old depending on the individual.
I don't know jack about hormone injections, but what I do have is an abundant amount of common sense which allows me to spot a retard when I find one. If a girl as young as 8 years old comes out of a closet and starts calling herself a boy and behaves like a boy, then you call her a tomboy. It's just a phase, they'll grow out of it. You don't inject them with hormones and then call them trans boys. And yes, there is a chance that the 8-year-old might grow older and still feel that she wants to be a boy. But my question is, how would you distinguish whether it's just a phase or is it not? You can't. Which is exactly the reason why you need to wait till they hit 18 so that they can make their own informed decisions. I mean, come on, Riley. Children don't have the mental capacity to consent to sex, but you want them to make a life-changing decision to transition into a transgender? What the literal bloody hell is wrong with you, you stupid woman? Also, what the fuck is up with these YouTubers these days trying to fuck around with the kids pushing around their queer agenda? One woman goes around teaching kids what's a transgender and another one goes around asking them to become one. I swear these people have some kind of a cult meeting where they're trying to raise some army of queer people.
Fuck! What the fuck is it with you?
I don't think this woman is evil in any way. It's just that she's an incredibly stupid person who promotes illogical and dangerous ideas. I believe that she chooses to believe that biological sex is a social construct so that she can identify herself as a transgender woman to feel oppressed just to feel special. Because at the end of the day, Riley J. Dennis is what she hates the most. A straight, white male. But fuck all that, because my opinions are invalid according to Riley. So if you can't beat them, join them. I, Abster, identify as the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village, and I want to go by Abster Kun, Abster Sama and Abster Chan pronouns. Oh, what's that? Riley's selling some merchandise. I better get them before they sell out. Alrighty then, so select your gender. Oh boy, given the fact there are more than 2 genders, I hope my gender, the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village, is present in here.